Welcome to the Lavish Show, everyone. I'm your host, Shira Stallworth, also known as Lavish. I thank you for tuning in tonight to join me for this spectacular show. On tonight's show, we have a very special guest, our very own Representative Jeramey Anderson. I mean, you do not want to miss this. So get your popcorn, get your coffee, get your drinks, sit down and relax and enjoy the Lavish Show. And don't forget to visit my website at www.creativewomenenterprises.com. On that website, you can find my music, you can find the ministry, you can also donate and also contribute to the television show. So sit back and relax. Next, we will have Representative of the United States of America, Jeramey Anderson.
It gets better and better. 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 Better, 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 better. It gets better and better. It gets better and better. It gets better and better. It gets better.
Welcome back to the Lavish Show. I'm so glad that y'all are joining me tonight. We have a very special guest, none other than the United States Representative Jeramey Anderson. Y'all give him a round of applause. How are you, Mr. Anderson?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored. Well, I'm so glad that he's joining us tonight. You know, it's a lot of things that we need to discuss, but one of the things that I want to bring to everyone's attention, he's the very first youngest African-American to enter into the United States legislators. So tell us a little bit about that, Jeramey.
Sure. Well, I'm in the House of Representatives here in the state of Mississippi. I'm working to get to U.S. Congress,
Okay.
and I'm running for Congress now. The election is November 6, 2018.
Okay.
So very, very close. It's right around the corner. But I started here in the state legislature in 2013. I was 21 years old, junior in college, and very ambitious, but it was something that I felt I needed to do. I felt like this was the right avenue for me to be able to help the folks in my community. So I set out on this journey to run for office, and I was successful. I've served 5 years in the legislature now.
Wow.
Going on 6. I've served on various committees. I'm now in the leadership of the Democratic House Caucus. I serve as Secretary and Treasurer. So I've worked my way through the process, and I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed representing the folks in my community, and I enjoyed representing the people of this great state. So now I'm trying to go to Congress and represent you in Washington, and I'm very excited about that opportunity as well.
Okay, so right now you're in District 110.
That is correct.
What does that cover?
District 110 covers Moss Point and Pascagoula.
Okay, that's excellent. And you know, you said that you're up for elections again in June the 5th. What's going on June the 5th?
June 6th.
June the 6th.
June 6th is the general election for the U.S. Congress, and we actually have a primary June the 5th. I don't have a primary per se because I'm unopposed, but I do.
Okay.
I will have a general because we are waiting to see who we're going to be running against after June 5th on the Republican side.
Okay.
And so once we figure that out, then we're going to be full speed ahead into the general election November 6th.
Wow, November the 6th, okay.
Which is right around the corner.
Yeah, right around the corner. I mean, I was doing an event for the city of Moss Point at a river jamboree, and I seen him, and I was like, oh my goodness, we got to get him on the show. Because like I said before, he's the youngest African-American to enter the United States legislature, and also the youngest, what else?
I'm the youngest African-American ever elected to state legislature in U.S. history, and I'm also the youngest ever elected in Mississippi to be in the legislature here in the state. So we've made some extreme strides forward to move our community and to represent our community well, and we're hoping to continue to do that. It's been a pleasure to serve, and it was a really big decision to run for this seat simply because we live in a very conservative district. But I believe that folks crave change. I believe folks are excited about the momentum going forward. They want folks that are accountable to them. They want folks that truly represent their interests. And I believe in a Mississippi where everybody thrives. Everybody has the opportunity to thrive no matter where you come from, no matter how much money you make, no matter who you love, no matter what you look like, that you have the opportunity to build your own American dream.
Right.
And I always say, you know, my American dream looks different than yours, but we should both be afforded the opportunity to reach for our God-given potential and build our own American dream.
Right.
So that's what this race is about, is making sure that folks, no matter where they come from, are able to build their American dream and have a sustainable life in this country.
That's right.
Uninfringed.
That's right. You are a community person, I can tell you that, and you're about the community. My organization, Creative Women Enterprises, is truly geared towards low-income families and helping those that, you know, that's not sufficient. You know, they need help with their income. They need help with education. From my understanding, you know, you are about education.
That's
you
correct.
are about promoting a healthy community and things like that.
Sure.
Tell our audience a little bit about what you're trying to do, you know, for the community and for even in the United States. What are you trying to do? What are some of your goals?
Well, you know, since I've been in the legislature, I've proposed several bills. Not a lot of them have come out of committee or passed, but I have drafted them because I believe that they were good, sound policy and will move the state of Mississippi in the right direction.
Right.
For example, speaking of low-income families, increasing minimum wage is something that I've drafted. Mississippi currently doesn't have a minimum wage law. We back the federal law. So even in Congress, my objective would be to make sure that folks that are working 40 hours a week are able to bring home enough money that they can provide for their families. I don't believe folks should be working 30, 40 hours a week and still live in poverty. I don't believe folks should be working 30, 40 hours a week and not be able to afford food for their family or health care for their family. I believe we're a better state than that and a better country than that. So I will continue to work for those families to ensure that they have equal access to upward mobility, that everyone's able to do well in their communities, because at the end of the day, when there's more money in circulation, there's more revenue for the economy as well. So I truly believe in that. I also believe that education is the key to solving all of our problems. When you talk about infrastructure, when you talk about healthcare, when you talk about the economy, it all stems back to education. How educated is your populace? I'm all for putting more money into education. In my time in the state legislature, I've also drafted legislation to increase or fully fund education here in the state, and I plan to do that in Congress to make sure that the resources are diverted to states, that those states are diverting resources into their communities, and at the same time making sure that we're holding states accountable so that the money that are being channeled to our states are actually going into the classrooms in our communities. So education is something that I'm very passionate about, but at the same time, I do understand that there are other things that need to be addressed in our country, but I believe education is the start for improving this state and improving this country.
That's right, education, and I back education 100%, you know, and also dealing with low-income families. I mean, that really touches me when you say that, you know, you don't agree with working over 40 hours or working 35 to 40 hours and not able to, you know, protect or, you know, help your family and provide for your family. A lot of us in the low-income family live paycheck to paycheck, you know, and they are struggling and they're looking for answers, they're looking for opportunities, you know, and what we hear is that it's out there, but we don't have the to-go person to go get it, or we don't have the resources for it. And if the resources are there, how do they get it? You know, and I volunteer for the Jackson County Civic Action, and they are about making families self-sufficient. And I love that when you said that, you know, we have to be a voice for them. And I believe in your campaign, and I want the audience to really know that you're young doing this. You started off at age 21.
That's correct.
What gives you the passion?
I started a nonprofit myself when I was 16 years old. It's called Foundation for a Brighter America, and it's geared towards young boys, 11 to 18. It's a mentoring program, and what our mission is just to provide opportunities for young boys that they aren't naturally afforded in their homes. We deal with a lot of single parent kids that come from single parent households, and that can be single mom, that can be single dad, and then we deal with a lot of kids that come from like their grandparents are raising them.
That's right.
So what we do in our organization is we provide opportunities for them to go and tour colleges. We tour about 8 colleges and universities throughout the year, and it normally costs the parent maybe $10, and we pay for the rest for the whole weekend. And you'd be surprised how many kids here in this area have never gone to. I went to Pearl River Community College, right? That's right up the road. So many kids in this community have never even gone that far. When you talk about USM, again, right up the road, have never gone to USM campus. And these are resources that are not necessarily in our backyard, but they're not far away.
Right.
And those are kind of some of the opportunities that we provide. We also provide scholarships for our young men if they've been in the program for over 2 years.
Wow.
And they can start applying for that their 7th grade year. Once they come into the program, it can get $1,000 up until they graduate.
Wow,
So that means
that's
that
good.
really would mean a lot at the end of your senior year. So that's kind of where my service came from. I saw a need in my community, and I was 16 years old. You know, I wasn't much older than the kids I was trying to help.
Right.
You know, but I felt someone had to do that.
Right.
So service has always been in my blood. My grandfather, Alton Joseph, was very integral in the community.
Okay.
In Moss Point, he was an educator, he was a counselor, he was a coach, and so that has always been in our family. He never would run for office because he felt
Wow.
that he didn't need a position to make a difference in his community, and I feel the same way. You know, but in today's time, we can't wait for change. We have to bring it. And I always say change doesn't come from Washington, it doesn't come from Jackson, it goes to those places.
That's
so
right.
I ran one to give my generation a vision of what change could look like.
That's
that
right.
You don't have to wait till you're 35, 40, 50 years old to make change in your community. It can start now, and the decision that you're making today directly impacts where you're going tomorrow.
That's
so,
right.
you know, think about the long road, have a plan for yourself, and then execute that plan. So I'm excited about the things that we've